The U.S. is quietly arming Taiwan to the teeth. It's the brother Azariah back once more with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachai Kadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, bishops at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the sincere believers, the Akim and the Aquath, listening and learning. Shalom. So, one thing we cannot forget about is what's going on in the South China Sea. You notice that on the Western media, ever since this Israel conflict has popped off, that's all they've been blasting on the news. They ain't been showing you what's going on in Ukraine. They don't even talk about that no more. That's like that pretty much just disappeared. You know, they ain't talking about what's going on in Ukraine, and they damn sure not talking about what's going on in Taiwan. So that just goes to show you that the Western media is really set up to control your mind. You know what I'm saying? It's really set up to distract you from the more important things that's going on within the earth. They show you what they want you to see, not what's actually going on, not the truth. What they pushing on the media is a narrative. You know, just think about or just look at what they pushing with the whole Israel thing. It's all one sided because we know who controls the media, the JOOs, right? Like we know who owns the media and you know who pays these people to push what they want to push. So even that, it's not even real news. It's not real journalism. It's you're reading a script and you're saying what they want you to say, not actually reporting on what's actually happening on the ground. So with this Taiwan thing, this ain't never went away. This has always been brewing. And this is news now. The U.S. is quietly arming Taiwan to the teeth. Okay, they've been doing this quietly. Now they've been doing this for some months, but apparently they've ramped up the amount of aid that they're sending to Taiwan. And again, this is not on the mainstream media. They're not even talking about this, but it's happening. Let's get into it. It says here, when U.S. President Joe Biden recently signed off on an $80 million grant to Taiwan for the purchase of American military equipment, China said it deplores and opposes what Washington has done. And one thing about it, these nations, man, look, they hate America. All right. Right now, Iran, they screaming DTA, death to, I can't say it, but y'all know what the A stand for. OK, but that's their motto. That's all they screaming, DTA. And that's pretty much what China's screaming. That's what, listen, man, everybody want to take down America. Everybody want a piece of America because America in the scriptures is referred to as the hammer of the whole earth. When you think about a hammer, a hammer is a tool that's used to smash things into place. All right. So if America is the hammer, then all these other nations are the nail. And wherever there's a nail popping up, America got to go over there and smash it back down. So this is why all these nations hate what America is doing, what America stands for. And then in Israel, they backing the terrorists. But then they want to call the Palestinians terrorists. You know what I'm saying? And once again, this is all a narrative that's being pushed. It's not, we know that what's going on over there is all just a bunch of propaganda. And, you already know that's the case because Netanyahu actually accused the Palestinians of being Amalekites, which was funny. You know what I'm saying? Because he's projecting his own nationality onto the Palestinians to justify what they're doing over there. But not to digress, man. This is why everyone hates America. You see, America can't mind their damn business, man. It really is Esau. It's Amalek, the JOOs, okay? Because they the ones that fund these wars. They're the ones that, set up puppet leaders and create these so-called terrorist organizations, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? They got the money to fund all this stuff. That's why it says in Habakkuk 2:5, he is as deaf and cannot be satisfied. That his desire is to make the earth a living hell. And this is exactly what the Edomite has done. They've made the earth a living hell. Everything is suffering under the rulership of the wicked. And this is why the men of the Lord, this is why we calling for a new rulership on the earth, because The rulership that's ruling over the planet Earth right now is not conducive for life. You see, if the Edomite was left to his own devices and he was left to rule for the rest of eternity, he wouldn't even last another 20 years. You know what I'm saying? He would destroy the whole earth and destroy himself in the process. All right, that's how wicked and diabolical that these people are. But continuing on, to the casual observer, it didn't appear a steep sum. It was less than the cost of a single modern fighter jet. Taiwan already has on order more than 14 billion worth of U.S. military equipment. So you see that the U.S. been setting up Taiwan because China eventually, it is going to happen. It's not a matter of if, but when. You know, China is going to go up into Taiwan and they going to absorb that territory back into the jurisdiction of China. Because right now, Taiwan is allowed to self-govern, but it's still, you know, like a, what do you call it? Taiwan is still under the rule of China at large. You know what I'm saying? Because everything in the South China Sea, China looks at it as their territory. You know what I'm saying? So Taiwan is in that region. You know what I'm saying? But come to find out, you know, America is been, you know, beefing up the Taiwan military to the point now, you know, the reporters came out. They got 14 billion worth of U.S. equipment. Does a miserly 80 million more matter? And really, it don't matter. If you got 14 billion worth of equipment, you know, 80 million is what? One or two fighter jets. You know what I'm saying? They ain't really gonna make no difference. While fury is Beijing's default response to any military support for Taiwan, this time something was different. The 80 mil is not alone. It comes from American taxpayers. For the first time in more than 40 years, America is using its own money to send weapons to a place it officially doesn't recognize. This is happening under a program called Foreign Military Finance. Now, how many people know about this? How many people know that your tax dollars, you know, the money that you working for, this is supposed to go to roads and education and healthcare, you know, that your taxpayer money is being sent overseas under a program called Foreign Military Finance. So what a lot of people are realizing now in this day and time is that America is full of shit, and they've been full of shit. You know what I'm saying? Because all they've been doing is lying to the American people. They've been taking your money. They've been robbing you blind pretty much and funding their interests overseas. All right. The same thing they did in Iraq, the same thing they did in Vietnam and Desert Storm and, Iraq and Afghanistan. Look, the same thing that they doing now in Ukraine. The same thing they doing in the land of Israel. It's all about gaining more control, you know, taking over people's resources and displacing the indigenous populations, genociding them. This is what the Edomite do. All right. This is what they do, man. This is their MO. This is what they've always done. You see, this power structure was set up on the oppression of the nations of the earth, Edomite supremacy. This is what they trying to maintain, but they about to fall real soon because the devil know that he have but a short time, so he got to come with it. You know what I'm saying? And best believe that, you know what I'm saying, Esau going out swinging. You know what I'm saying? He ain't about to lay down. You about to have to put this man down out of his misery. All right, and that's going to be done by who? Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai. Okay? Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine last year, FMF has been used to send around $4 billion of military aid to Kyiv. So all this money that they spending on these wars, right? Because war for these people is a racket. You know what I'm saying? War makes these people money. You know, and war is fun for Esau. You know what I'm saying? Whenever Esau get bored or, you know, he's not involved in some mischief, he has to cook up a war. Okay? He has to cook up a war because that's all this man knows. That's his blessing. What did Isaac tell Esau? He said, by the sword shalt thou live. So indeed, this man is living by the sword. He lives by warfare. Okay, that's that. He knows nothing else. That's how he got to where he got to. You know what I'm saying? By the edge of the sword. It has been used to send billions. Listen carefully. It has been used to send billions more to Afghanistan, Iraq, Israel and Egypt, and so on. But until now, it has only ever been given to countries or organizations recognized by the United Nations. Taiwan is not. So they even sending aid to nations that are not recognized by the UN. And that's being done because Taiwan is a strategic port, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? I believe that they're the world's leading producer of microchips. You know what I'm saying? Which, hey, they gonna need that because they about to push this MOTB. So they gonna need that, and that's why they gonna have to go up in there, man. Because I believe Taiwan said that if China does invade, that they gonna shut down all the factories that make the chips. So if China takes back Taiwan, then that resource for America is pretty much shut off. So they can't afford to lose that. That's why that's why they're improving and investing in the Taiwanese military to combat China. But at the end of the day, it's all in vain because it's not going to work. China is going to take back Taiwan, and it's going to be a war in the South China Sea. America actually set up on an island not far from Taiwan that they're doing military drills on. Once again, these things are not on the mainstream media, but you got wars brewing all over the earth. Okay. And really, who's instigating all these wars? It's America. America is instigating these wars. You see? After the U.S. switched diplomatic recognition from Taiwan to China in 1979, it continued to sell weapons to the island under the terms of the Taiwan Relations Act. The key was to sell just enough weapons so Taiwan could defend itself against possible Chinese attack, but not so many that they would destabilize relations between Washington and Beijing. For decades, the U.S. has relied on this so-called strategic ambiguity to do business with China while remaining Taiwan's staunchest ally. But in the last decade, the military balance across the Taiwan Strait has dipped dramatically in China's favor. The old formula no longer works. You see that? So them, once again, like I just said, America is sending all this aid and weapons to Taiwan. It's all in vain, man, because China is much more powerful than they were in 1979. Now China, they got nukes. Now China, they have a world-renowned military. Okay, actually, their military is stronger than America. And then Russia is allied with China as well, and Russia has the most advanced missile technology on the planet Earth right now. Okay, they got missiles that's traveling like 20 times the speed of sound or something like that. So there's no defense against that. So all that America's doing, they just instigating these wars. The military is going to be stretched in, and that's why they're going to have to bring the draft back. So for all these things that America is doing, they still going to lose at the end of the day. They still going to lose, man. And their allies are going to lose too. But I ain't going to get ahead of myself because we're going to get to America's allies and how they feel about this. We can get a little bit more of this article, then we'll move on. Washington insists its policy has not changed, but in crucial ways it has. The U.S. State Department has been quick to deny FMF implies any recognition of Taiwan. All right, blah, blah, blah. So, hey, you get it. Okay, the point has been made. America, they about to get up in Taiwan. Okay, and they about to get into it with China. So this is about to be another war that America really cannot afford, that America or its allies cannot afford. Now, the European nations, they already pretty much said that once America makes that move to go in Taiwan, they not going to get involved. And I'll play this because this is what, matter of fact, before I do that, let me play this here. Okay, because this thing about to go down, and once it does, that's when you're gonna see this draft push be heavily played on the news, man, because they gonna need them bodies out there. So let me play this.
All right, we've probably all been so focused on what's going on in Israel with Hamas and the threat of the expanding war with Hezbollah to the north and what's happening with all of these rebel groups in Syria. But has anyone been looking at what China has been doing? 43 planes, 7 ships near Taiwan as we speak. Maybe they're seizing on the notion that maybe we're preoccupied, or the world is. Gordon Chang is probably the most remarkable people to read China that I know of in my years doing this job. Glad to have him back, the Gatestone Institute Senior Fellow, author of China is Going to War. He leaves no doubt just to the title. Gordon, great to have you. So what do you make of what they're doing? I mean, this is more than provocative behavior. This is something that's almost a daily occurrence.
Yes, and it's not just Taiwan, Neil. What we saw, for instance, at the end of October with regard to the Philippines in the South China Sea, Scarborough and Second Thomas Shoals got very close to war. Matter of fact, President Biden on October 25th actually had to speak from the podium at the White House and warn China that we were prepared to use force against Beijing to defend the Philippines. So it's gotten to be a very serious situation where China's been ignoring our warnings, escalating all throughout East Asia, and that means that we are pretty close to conflict.
I wonder where this goes.
And see the narrative that they push. And China has been ignoring our warnings. Right? China has been ignoring us, which what business do America have in the South China Sea? They don't got no jurisdiction over Taiwan. Just because you do trade with Taiwan doesn't mean that you rule over that territory. But America, all right, America is very proud. Okay, the rulers of America are very proud. They feel like the whole earth belongs to them. And whatever they want, they should be able to get it and not have nobody say nothing. This is why the guy just said that they're ignoring our warnings. Well, I'm pretty sure China warned you too, right? I'm pretty sure China told you to stay out of Taiwan, but you went there anyway. And I remember, who was it? I forget who it was, but it was I don't think it was Nancy Pelosi that went to Taiwan, but it was some House Speaker or somebody like that in the government that went to Taiwan when China, Xi Jinping warned America, listen, stay out of Taiwan, leave it alone. You don't belong over here. Just leave Taiwan alone. Okay, that's under our jurisdiction. But America went over there anyway. So they're saying that China is ignoring our warnings when you've been ignoring China's warnings. So you know what's going to pop off from this? It's going to be war, because pretty much all nations are tired of America's antics. America can't mind its own business. So what's going to happen is, it's about to be wars popping all over the place, man. You see? And this is all because the pride of America. America think that, just because they got one of the strongest militaries and I'm the big bad white man, I can go wherever I want. Look, man, them days is over. Like I said, the playing field has been leveled. Okay, all these nations that you got beef with, they got nukes too. They can bomb your ass. Okay, Russia, they got, once again, missiles that can travel 20 times the speed of sound. America don't got no defense against that. None of these nations do. But again, the Lord has it on on the leaders of America's spirit to be doing what they're doing, because this is really all to bring about the Third World War. Okay, the Battle of Armageddon. This is what all of this is leading to. Let's continue.
So, I mean, this is the same week we learned that China is interested in talking about, nuclear proliferation. Maybe we can score a deal on restraint there. And I'm thinking, why out of the blue now? They've got essential parity with us on that. So why now?
I think part of it relates to the Chinese economy right now is in distress. We're seeing all sorts of anecdotal information and underlying statistics, which basically suggest that China is not growing, might even be contracting. And they've got a housing and a debt crisis that they can't deal with. So Beijing needs the support of the United States and the rest of the world. But that also makes them dangerous, because if they feel for one reason or another that they can't control the Chinese people, then their only response to keep the Communist Party in power is to lash out. So we're dealing with a volatile situation.
and they are gonna lash out. Okay, again, this is prophecy that's coming to pass, man. All these nations, okay, when you read the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter, okay, beat your plowshares into swords, gather the nations together for war. All these nations are being roused up in the spirit to ultimately come against the great whore, Babylon the Great, to take this place down. And this, all of them are going to converge on the land of Israel. Okay, all of them are going to converge in the Middle East, and it's all going to go down over there. It tells you about the river Euphrates in Revelation, the 17th chapter. Once it's dried up, that's to make way for the kings of the East: China, Russia, North Korea, India, Pakistan, Iran, Iraq. Okay, all them Eastern nations, they going to converge upon the land of Israel to do this final battle. Okay, the war to end all wars. But right now, Esau, the so-called white man, he's in a tough position because he got too much going on. And when you look at the ancient Roman Empire, which we are currently in the revival of the ancient Western Roman Empire, this is one of the things that led to that empire's downfall, was that their military was stretched too thin. Okay, they had conquered too much territory, which again, going back to Habakkuk 2:5, he cannot be satisfied. No matter how much that Esau conquered, he was never satisfied. See, he always had to go above and beyond to fulfill his insatiable lust, to conquer. Okay, because again, this man's blessing was to live by the sword. So it's not like he just gonna conquer it and then sit back and enjoy it. Nah, man. He has to live by the sword because that's this man's blessing. So he doesn't have a conscience to say, you know what, I think I've conquered enough. Let me go, sit my ass down over here and enjoy what I've conquered. Nah, man, this man always looking to conquer more. This is why he trying to go in Taiwan. This is why he trying to go up in Ukraine. That's why they over there in the land of Israel. They always looking to conquer more, man. They cannot be satisfied. But, going back to the point of Rome, ancient Rome, this is one of the things that led them to their downfall, okay? Because, it came to a point where the empire's borders were, too spread out. They had all kind of enemies looking to take them down because Rome, even back then, they was they were oppressive. Okay, they were oppressing the indigenous nations of the earth at that time. So they had many enemies. Matter of fact, they had too many enemies. You see, and it came to a point where the Roman government, they were going through hard times, and the people started to rise up against them because they were just ongoing nonstop wars, and what I'm saying, the government workers wasn't getting paid. It's the same. Listen, man, American gold go down the same way ancient Rome did, because this is the revival of ancient Rome. All right, this is that beast, okay, which started with the Greeks and continued on into the Roman Empire. We're still in the last legs of the Roman Empire, okay? But the scriptures say that in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Let me read this here, Job 20, and let me start at 19. Because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he builded not, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. There shall be none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his goods. Verse 22, this is the point. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Now, straits means a position of difficulty between a rock and a hard place. Okay, so just when he thinks that he's about to accomplish his NWO, his quest to complete his lust for world domination, right? He's going to be in a position of difficulty. Why? Because all of his enemies are going to come against him. His government is going to collapse. The people are going to rise up against him. It's going to be all kind of stuff going on. His military is going to be stretched thin, so he's not going to be able to defend the lands which he conquered and trying to conquer, to the point where the homeland. And again, this is what happened with ancient Rome. Okay, their main thing was defending their borders. So the homeland of Rome was pretty much left wide open for invaders to come in and take it down. And the same thing gonna happen here in America. All these migrants, all these sleeper cells that are in America, hey, the same thing is about to happen, man. Okay, the Lord's setting this thing up perfectly. And it says, goes on, every hand of the wicked. Okay, now when it says every hand of the wicked, that really goes into the common citizen or the laborer. All right, every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. You see? So every hand of the wicked, just when he think that he about to accomplish what he set out to accomplish, is all gonna fail. You see? It's all gonna fail. All of what Esau is doing is in vain. You see? Verse 23, when he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and cometh out of the body. Yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. And indeed, this man is filled with terror. Okay, because he's, Esau, he pretty much knows that it's all over. But the Lord got the spirit on this man to continue on. The show must go on. Because prophecy must be fulfilled. World War III must come to pass. So he has to continue. You know what I'm saying? Even though he knows that it ain't looking good. Okay. Now, what did Emmanuel Macron say about this Taiwan thing? Because listen, these European nations, they already not messing with America like that. Quiet as it's kept. They ain't feeling America because they see that America is instigating all these conflicts, all these wars, and really what really turned Europe off from America is when they blew up the Nord Stream last year. And trust and believe that they know that America did that, because common sense tells you, well, the Russians, they're not about to blow up their own pipeline. There's no reason for them to do that. And of course, we know Europe was dependent, especially Germany, Netherlands, the European nations on the Eastern Bloc, they were pretty dependent on that Russian oil and natural gas, to run their infrastructure, to keep their military up. But now, since that's been cut off, Europe is taking a hit. Prices have gone up in Europe. They're rationing food, so Europe is now having to cope with the ramifications of the sanctions that were placed upon America. Now, Europe, mind you, Europe was in good with Russia before those sanctions were placed. Europe was trading good with Russia. What I'm saying? They was getting grain, they was getting oil, they was getting natural gas. Everything was good. Then because America had beef with Russia, they came in and said, no, you can't trade with them no more. We got to punish Russia for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? And, even Germany. Matter of fact, I remember doing a lesson around that time with Germany, and Germany was actually about to go, hey, look, Germany was about to say, yo, F NATO. We about to go with Russia because they taking care of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, F these sanctions, F America. We about to go to, what I'm saying? We about to go over to the Russian side. And then what happened? Boom. The Nord Stream blew up. So they already know what happened. You know what I'm saying? So let's see what Macron and likewise the other European nations that are in NATO and the EU, what they have to say about following America into their, international beefs. Let's see.
The French president's 3-day visit to Beijing could have ended in two ways. One, where Europe brings China on board the diplomatic table. Or two, China brings Europe to its side. To see how different the same table looks, we can conclude now that the trip has done a bit of both. On his way back from Beijing, Emmanuel Macron was interviewed by Politico, and he made this statement. I'm quoting here, Europe must reduce its dependency on the United States. The great risk Europe faces is that it gets caught up in crises that are not ours.
You see that? So Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, is saying that, look, basically in so many words, we need to depend less on America because we see that America is leading us straight to destruction. You see? In Europe, in all the world wars, World War I, World War II, they're the ones that got smashed. Okay, they're the ones that infrastructure got destroyed. They're the ones that lost, half of their population in these wars. America was pretty much untouched through all these world wars. So they not looking to go through that again. And this is why in the prophecy of Revelation 17 and 16, right? It says, in the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. Verse 17, for Yahweh hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. Okay. Now these 10 horns, okay, that goes into NATO and the EU. All right. Spain, Portugal, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Belgium, Great Britain, Germany, Switzerland. Now, of course, they've added more nations since then, but those 10 horns, you know what I'm saying, those were the original 10 vassal states of the ancient Western Roman Empire, okay, which today makes up NATO and the EU. Let me read up a little bit. Verse 13, these have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb. We know the Lamb is Yahweh Shai, whom the world calls Jesus Christ. And the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are called with him are called, and chosen and faithful. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth. Now we know the whore is referring to America, okay, otherwise known as Babylon the Great. All right, where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. America is known as what? The great melting pot. All right. You can find every nationality of people in America. Okay. People from, African nations, people from Asian nations, Europe, you know what I'm saying? South America, every nation, every nationality of people and language is in America. That's why it's known as the great melting pot. This is the whore. Okay. But the 10 horns, okay, which really is referring to Europe, because right now, the European states are pretty much like vassal states to America. America is the head, you know what I'm saying? So whatever America say, Europe got to follow behind. That's why when America put them sanctions on Russia, all the European nations, even though they didn't want to do the sanctions, they had to follow behind America, because what? In verse 13, it says these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. Okay, now NATO and the EU, they are part of the beast along with America. America is like an extension of the original European nations. You know what I'm saying? Because America came out of Britain, but they've given their power and strength unto the beast. Okay, but hey, it's gonna come a time, and you're hearing that sentiment right now with the 10 horns. Okay, NATO and the EU, they're going to hate the whore. Okay, and what? They're gonna make her naked and desolate, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Now, how is this gonna happen? Okay, eventually what's going to happen is these European nations, they're going to side with Russia. They're going to side with China. They're going to side with North Korea and Iran, because they listen, they all going to see that the whole world is against America. So they're going to be like, well, shit, if we follow America, which is what Macron is saying, he's saying, we can't really follow America like that, because, America going to get us all destroyed. So they gonna see what the whole world, is the whole world is against America, and they're gonna be like, you know what? I think now is the time that we need to separate. America betrayed us anyway. They blew up our lifeline to Russia, so they already crossed that line. So to hell with America. Then they the European nations, guess what? They gonna shoot missiles over to America too. This is exactly how it's gonna go down, man. And the scriptures is telling you plainly, okay? They gonna hate the whore. Everybody hates the whore, man, including the European nations. Let's continue.
And this prevents it from building its strategic autonomy. Now, coming from a key European country like France, this has raised many eyebrows. While Macron was talking in reference to Taiwan, the comments are being seen in a broader light as by experts. Macron had a similar stance on the defense industry as well, nuclear and renewable energy as well, and even dependence on the US dollar. The Western world is mostly seen as United States and Europe. While that is wrong from geography's point of view, it has made sense in politics, but maybe not anymore. The White House is vehemently pushing for policies to counter China. It is already facing a deterrence. It's already facing a difference of opinion from South Asia and Africa, where most of the countries are not giving in to Washington's diplomacy bullying, to say the least. They are choosing their interests over a crisis that has nothing to do with them. And France is eyeing this club. China had to make sure that Europe does not get sucked into playing America's game. These statements are testament to that. Europe is ready to accept a world in which China becomes a regional. If we quickly zoom out on the world map, we see a similar pattern emerging in West Asia as well, a region that was long seen as Washington's playground. But US influence has come under fire, at least in this region. Joe Biden might say that the US is not going anywhere. However, the countries are realizing that they don't need the US to shape West Asia anymore. Be that China getting Iran and Saudi Arabia to the talking table, or Saudi and Oman sitting down with Houthi officials. The world order is changing. And for the first time, US is not at the center of it.
So we see that the whore is being X'd out. Okay, America is fastly becoming a non-factor in world politics. Okay, there is an NWO, a new world order. Okay, that is arising. Okay, and you know the one that's being set up mainly with the BRICS alliance. America and the West is not going to be the head of that. Okay, so this is why America is going to have to come down with full force. Okay, the Amalekites, because pretty much the West is run by these central banks, which are controlled by who? The JOOs. All right, so all these Eastern nations that are not under the control of the central banks, which means that their government is not influenced by the JOOs. Okay, that this is why in these Eastern nations, they're not with the happy agenda. Okay, they're not teaching their children perversions and showing them rap music and all this other stuff, man, because that influence, pretty much they can't be bought and paid for like the nations in the West. Okay, Europe and America. So we coming into a time where things is rapidly changing. And America is about to be destroyed. This is what we keep telling you, man. You know what I'm saying? But before it is destroyed, this place is going to implode from within. It's going to be a lot of turmoil here in America. It's going to be a lot of, terror events that's about to take place. And through that, Esau, he's going to try to bring about his new order from that. But it's still all going to fail at the end of the day, because, this is ultimately the Most High's will that's being played out right now. So we just got to keep watching, keep being diligent and, staying in the spirit, man, because ultimately we know that we're at the end and that the return of our Lord is near. So with that, I'll go ahead and end this lesson here. In closing, call halal, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kedash. And until next time, Lord willing, shalom to the elect.